All right, well, we're finally at the final stage of putting in our insulation and rebar in our forms here. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. You know, it's been an interesting process, taking me and Brenda probably, I don't know, I think a couple weeks anyway, from the beginning of putting those forms together. Everything's coming out pretty nice. I'm happy with the way everything seems to be coming out so far. The last stage is, as I just mentioned, the rebar. We got some insulation and stuff. We did contact the concrete company a couple days ago to get some information and figures and to try to figure out exactly how this is going to work as far as them coming over and getting how much we need and whatnot. So we got some really good information. They were very friendly, very helpful, and going to be nice to work with, I think, going forward for this that part of the project. I think probably one of the best parts was they sound pretty flexible on the schedule as far as the pouring dates and notification times and whatnot. They seem to be really flexible with working with you. So, for example, we're looking at some rain beginning of next week into the middle of next week. When you figure after all this nice weather, we're finally ready to pour and we're going to get rain. So we're just going to try and time it so that we can get the concrete delivered maybe at a period where we see from that, after it's done raining, obviously, then give it time to dry, because we don't want to have to cover everything up and everything. So we're probably going to end up having to cover the forms to keep the rain out over the weekend. We're expecting a few nice days of weather. So if things work out this weekend and we can get everything done, put everything inside the forms and get them all ready, we'll cover them. And then we'll just wait for the rain to pass. And hopefully when we see a window sometime next week, we'll call them up and they can come over and deliver the concrete. Pretty excited about that. It's a pretty big step, because if we can get that done and get those dry before the snow falls, we've certainly got a chance of getting more done throughout the winter anyway. So the project for today is we've got a bunch of rebar that we picked up, and this is 20 foot, half inch. I think it's number 4. And so I like the 20 foot because the containers, obviously the forms are 40 feet, so a couple of these lengthwise, but that means we also got to cut quite a few of them to make them fit widthwise at 8 feet. So I've got quite a bit of cutting to do, and I have picked up something to help me do that. So anyway, so this is what we picked up. This is a rebar cutter bender, and just picked it up off of Amazon. They're actually quite expensive, but this one in particular said it was used, but it didn't say exactly what. I don't know if it was some kind of damage to the package possibly or something, and they offer free returns. And so I thought I had nothing to lose, so it was like half price almost. The only one thing I didn't care about it was that they had other models where you could get it with the piece of wood already mounted on here, which stabilizes it. I've already cut a few pieces of rebar so far, and it can be a little unwieldy, I guess you say, to handle if you're trying to do, and I've got quite a bit to cut. So I figured I'd do is, as I said, I bought this one without the wood, and thinking, well, obviously I'm just going to attach a piece of wood to it because they allow you to do that on these models. However, when I got it, I had a problem. As you can see here on the cutter here, there's a place to put a bolt in the foot over here, and they do have a hole further back here on the handle where it bolts down in the back. However, that one's not quite big enough, so I'm going to have to drill that one out. What was interesting is on this side, they actually went through the trouble of welding it in to prevent you from putting a bolt in there, I guess. I'm not sure what that's all about. Maybe that was the reason it was sold used. I don't know. But okay, it is is windy. Oh. Okay, we'll try this again. I was just gonna say, it's windy and the camera fell over. All right, so I need a bunch of 8-footers. And when I say a bunch, I need 20. Oh, 20 per form.